Welcome, and it's great to be here virtually with everyone. I'm Celina Byrd, principal of Starfish Family Services, Marygrove Early Education Center. We serve approximately 144 little learners ages birth to 5 years of age, as well as their families, and we're located right here in the Livernois West McNichols community. This is our live Byrd tweet, where we'll share all of the amazing things that are happening here at Marygrove Early Education Center, as well as some extra tidbits here and there around what's happening at the campus overall. So you might be wondering, why are they sitting here with these masks on? Easy answer for that. We are practicing and just making sure that we're providing safety, health and safety to the children and families, and just in this space overall. Our COVID protocols call for us to keep our masks on throughout the day, indoors and outdoors. And we're sitting 6 feet apart, so we're just trying to be good stewards and good citizens in this global pandemic that we're in. So today is a very special day for Byrd Tweets. Believe it or not, it's the 3-month anniversary since we first opened September 7th, 2021.
Yay!
And to help me celebrate, I'm just so happy to introduce you all to my dynamic, vibrant, colorful assistant principal, Miss Sydney Varner. Hey, Sydney.
Hello, and well, good afternoon. Almost called it morning again.
Yeah, so how are you feeling? Can you believe it's 3 months since we opened?
Absolutely not. It has been flying, and we've been having an amazing time.
Okay, so you've been with us for a while now. You jumped into this project, I think maybe a year.
In March.
Yeah.
Earlier this year in March, yeah.
Yeah, so it seems longer, but you've been on this project, this ride with us for about a year. Can you talk to us a little bit about, tell the people out there what this journey has meant to you and what brought you here to Marygrove Early Education Center?
Absolutely. I have been working in early childhood for, I don't even know how many years yet. I started working with children when I was 14. I have been a teacher for infants, toddlers, preschool, the state pre-K program. I've been a school director for the last 3 or 4 years, and I found myself needing to do something other than just work in private child care centers. And I had a little birdie tell me months ago that there was this project coming, and I kept watching for it. And one day I saw it and knew I absolutely needed to be here.
Wow, isn't that interesting? The little birdie told her that.
I know, I thought about it after.
Not me.
Not you
one
this
last
time.
name. Okay. So, Sydney, I think, so this is a first for Starfish, where we have a principal and assistant principal. Can you talk a little bit about what your role is as the assistant principal, and then describe for us, if you don't mind, like, first of all, is there really such thing as a typical day? So tell us what you do here. Help the audience to know.
Absolutely. My job is to make sure day to day everything works in a short sense. To make sure that the teachers all have what they need, that there's coverage in the classroom to cover teachers needing to be off, to do any curriculum training they may need to do, to make sure our children are where they're supposed to be, that our families are getting in touch with who they need to be in touch with. We're getting our communications out, making sure that breaks are happening, curriculum implementation is happening. My job is to make sure that day to day we open and that we close without a hitch. As far as a typical day, no, there's no such thing as a typical day with children, and I think most of us as parents would say the same. Mm-hmm. Every day is different. Usually start every day, I walk the building, go see all my favorite little friends. They're all my favorite little friends. And from there, just establish whatever it might be that the teachers or families need for the day, and getting them what they need or connecting them to the right person.
Wow, that's a lot, and I might add that she does a wonderful job at moving the pieces around and just ensuring that we're managing and providing wonderful experiences for our children and families. So could you give me like one example? So you just told me that there's not really a such thing as a typical day. Give me an example and help the audience to understand like what is one thing that is like not so typical, and what did you do?
I'll go with Tuesdays. Tuesdays, I would say, are our atypical day. We have on-site COVID testing every morning, so it's typical and atypical. We start the morning by getting the signs out. That might mean sending reminders to families that need it. We've had to do outdoor testing when necessary, and providing what we need. And then that would be, I'd say, an example of something that we'll call it typical because it's now part of our routine where it wasn't, and making sure that we have that opportunity for them.
Yeah, that's awesome, and that's a great reminder of how quickly we pivot and rise to the occasion. I just thought about that. That's wonderful. So let's talk about some magic moments, right? Again, we've been here 3 months, and Sydney and I, we were sitting around talking one day, and we asked ourselves, like, what were some of the magic moments over the past 3 months? So the first one I can think of for sure is the first day of school.
Absolutely.
The first day when we saw children and families, it was just such a celebration, and everyone was happy. We had beautiful weather, and the families were just so happy. So we are very excited about that. Is there something else you can think of when we think about magic moments?
Absolutely. There's been so many. I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
We just talked about one really exciting one is we started talking about the transition to kindergarten.
Oh, yes.
Over to the next school, and in the next month we will be working with families who are transitioning over to the new elementary school.
Yes, oh gosh, that's so exciting to think we're about to start having those conversations and preparing our little ones for this P20 educational continuum. This is great. So something else I thought about, and I don't know if you thought about this, is we have a nurse navigator. That was a magic moment for me because we don't have a nurse navigator at any of our other sites, and it's awesome to have that person here, I think,
It is.
to answer questions for families, to share tidbits. I think there's something we're doing with the nurse navigator called
Ask Nurse Laura goes
Mm-hmm.
into the weekly newsletters now. So Nurse Laura takes them commonly asked questions from families and sends that information to me to share with them on a weekly basis, especially with it being cold season. So things about what might this lingering cough mean? What does this color change mean for the children? So having Nurse Laura here has absolutely been one of my favorite magic moments. It's more than just saying, oh, there's a nurse navigator, and it didn't mean much before, but having her on site and even thinking about what she's provided to the staff, like the little cubbies full of notes and medicine and snacks that they might need, and having that available even when she's not here.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it doesn't take away that we do have a dynamic health team, Starfish Family Services does, but at Marygrove, this is a new model for Marygrove, and hopefully this is something at some point that will be replicated and sustainable for the rest of the agency and maybe even the community overall.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So I'm wondering, let's pivot a bit.
All right.
What have we been hearing from parents and families about what we've been doing over the past few months? I'm sure we got some great stories, and then sometimes we have some that aren't too great, but even with that, we're still trying to deliver the best we can. So what are your thoughts on that?
One of the things that I hear a lot from parents is how much they really love the relationships they formed with their teachers.
Mhm.
So they got to meet these teachers right before school started, and I now have parents coming up to me and going, well, I just love Miss Tam, or I just love Mr. Troy, you know, whatever the case is. And then they're able to tell me why. You know, they're just so excited to see that person, that their child is lunging towards that teacher when less than 3 months ago they were crying at the thought of being left at the door. So that, I would absolutely say, is one of the things I hear from the parents the most, is the relationships they form so fast.
Yeah, I really appreciate you mentioning relationships early on, and part of our tours over the summer was expressing to families that we believe in relationships as partnerships. And we believe those partnerships exist with families, with staff, and with one another. So I'm happy to hear that families are excited about that. All right, so as with any new venture, there are some oops moments, or some hiccups, if you will. And what we try to do is, when we notice those, we take whatever feedback we get and we try to tweak and do a little better. So I'm going to lift up one of the oops moments for me, and you know, we can just kind of exchange if you don't mind. Drop-offs and pickups. Now, to me, that was an oops. So we had this great plan in the midst of COVID, and we have this beautiful space, and we really thought intentionally about how we can utilize the space for drop-offs and pickups. So we had this great plan. It lasted 1 week.
If that,
And then we had to switch up. And now I'm happy to say that that learning has been in place, if you will, the switch that we made since the second week of September. And here it is, we're in December. So that's working for us.
It's working.
And keeping in mind we're still in a pandemic, but I just can't wait for people to be able to walk through the doors. I'm just going to tell you, I can't wait.
It worked. The transition worked. It still allows the parents to talk to the teachers every single day by being able to go directly to those classroom doors. It was not the initial plan, but it worked.
Yes, yes. So grateful in the design space for that, for sure.
Absolutely.
So what about communication? That was something else I thought about. Like, what do you think?
In the beginning, we definitely had some hiccups with how do you communicate with so many people and get the message that they need out to them right away. And even how we communicate and how much information. And we've learned that way more information up front is beneficial for families.
Yes, I agree. I think that was a definite learning, and I'm happy to say we've just been in a good space overall with that. So we really worked on making sure that not only do we communicate clearly, but that we give an abundance of information, but it's intentional information that we believe the families need. And if the families tell us, hey, I still needed to know a little more, we can go back to our various, go back to the drawing board, if you will, and then identify that and see what it looks like. So I agree with you. Communication, communication is big, and we always want to be as upfront and honest at all times. So we're looking forward to the next 3 months, the next 3 years, and beyond. And we look forward to keeping connections going strong. We're looking at ways to, at some point, activate the parent lounge, right? Because families, we want you to come use the parent lounge. So we are having conversations on how can we utilize that in the midst of the pandemic. So is it maybe just 3 parents? Is it a sign-up sheet? We don't know, but we're talking about it. We're talking about it. In the meantime, I want you to feel free to reach out to me or Sydney. You can call us at 313-651-8500, and one of our wonderful, wonderful front desk people will answer the phone with a smile on their face. Also, we want to remind you that if you want any additional information, whether it be enrolling your child, enrolling a friend, talking to a friend, spread the good news now, spread the good news. You can go on to our starfishfamilyservices.org website. We want to remind you that we do have a wait list, right? When we're looking at enrollment
On a monthly basis?
on a monthly basis, yes. So be sure to tell somebody about us. Get your information in if you haven't already. We'd love for you to be a part of the Marygrove Early Education Center family, which is also, reminder, it's a program that's led by Starfish Family Services. We thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Absolutely.